Hello everyone, this is the 14th part of a multi-part tutorial series covering how to mod Hotline Miami. Today we're going to be going over adding new masks. This video will not be teaching you how to make powers for your masks. That's already been done by Spencer Yan in a mask setup tutorial. I think that's like the third or fourth tutorial of his. I'll link it in the description, but yeah. I'm not going to show how to add like completely new powers to masks, but I am going to show you how to add a new mask to the roster of masks, to the mask menu. So that you can select it. It'll have its own global.mask index. It'll work and that sort of thing, and even locking it and unlocking it. So like if you want the mask to be unlocked at a certain point or have the player go through something to unlock it, you can do that. So yeah, to get started, you're going to want to go to Sprites, Player, Jacket, Masks, and you want an SPR mask drop back. This is when the mask drops off of Jacket's head and it lands facing frontward, so you can see the back of it on the ground. As you can see, you're going to want to add an image right after 25. For you, it's going to be image 26, and then any new masks you add will be 27, 28, etc. So here I'm adding Corey. This is what Corey's mask drop back looks like. Next we'll go to mask drop front, which is, you know, the same difference. Again, it's just Corey. You can ignore SPR mask letter. This is for when Jacket opens up the box that gets delivered to his apartment in the first sequence of the game. So you can ignore this. SPR masks big is how the mask will look on the mask menu. So as you can see, I've added Corey. And SPR masks is how the mask will look on top of Jacket's head. So again, Corey. You can add whatever mask you want. It's up to you. You can add your own design or any other mask that you want to add to the game, of course. And then you want to go into miscellaneous, put on masks, and then add a new sprite. So right click, insert sprite, and then add your sprite and then name it whatever you want to name it. I've named mine SPR Zebra Mask because it's Corey and she wears a zebra mask. Set the origin to 14 by 14. You can adjust this if you want, but centering it will give you this value by default, and that's probably the best one to use. Set it to precise and separate, even though it doesn't really matter for the collision checking. And then if we go into edit sprite, there's three different frames. There's one where Jacket takes out the mask and he's getting ready to put it on, so you can only see the front of it. He's got it in like his hands at this point. Then he slides it, he like brings it up so you can see the full mask at this point, and then he slides it back onto his head. And that's basically what this is. It's exactly what it sounds like. Put on masks is the animation of Jacket taking out the mask and putting it on his head. So yeah. Now, to actually add the mask to the game, to make it usable, obviously doing all this on its own isn't going to actually do anything. We've simply added the assets. We haven't messed with any of the code to actually add them to the game. So to get that started, you want to open up objMaskMenu. Okay. And in the create event of this object, we want to go down, and as you can see, there's a name array and there's a description array, which are basically exactly what they sound like. The name contains the name of the mask and the description contains the description. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and add a new one, a new line, name 26 in our case, and again it'll just keep going down the line, 27, 28, etc. It starts at 0, just like all of the sprite resources start at 0 and then go on for each individual mask. So name 26 in my case, I'm just gonna name it Corey because I'm adding Corey, but again, you name it whatever you want, of course, tailored to your own purposes. And then we want to go down here and add description 26, and it's basically the exact same thing, except instead of the name we're putting a description. I'm gonna put dodge roll. I won't actually be adding her dodge roll to the game. That's for another video. I'm actually gonna be adding all of the different fans abilities. I'm not gonna do that in this video. This is just a video on how to add a new mask and get it working, and I'm just using Corey as an example. I'm not actually gonna add the dodge roll. This is just what it would look like if I were adding Corey and adding her abilities, and that's, you know, what the description would be. That's what the description for Corey is in the second game. Anyways, I don't need to ramble on about that. So Now that we've done that, you're not done. If you load up the game and go into a level and you try to select it, try to select your new mask, it's gonna throw an error because we need to update. We need to update all of these different repeats, and to do that is pretty much just as follows. So there's gonna be a bunch of different repeat 26s that are gonna repeat from 0 to 26. Which now that we've added a new value, we want to change this repeat to 27. It's a little confusing, but just remember that everything starts with 0 and then goes to 25. So 26 originally is counting that 0 value to 25. So it's technically 26 values, and then adding 26 is actually the 27th because we have a 0 value, which again is confusing. But yeah, that's basically the context you're gonna have to sort of live by when using Game Maker, just in general, because pretty much all resources and values start at 0 in the context of Game Maker. So yeah, just always remember that. So yeah, basically the way we're gonna do this, instead of going through each script individually, we can just Control-Shift-F, bring up a search in scripts for 26. And then there is one that's actually 25 instead of 26. There's one special case. You don't actually have to change it, but I'll go over it later anyways. For now, we're just going to change all of the 26 values. Do a whole word only search so you don't get a bunch of like different scripts that we're not actually changing. And then here we go. So script update mask position. Yeah, we want to skip all this. This is just values for updating mask positions for certain animations, so just skip this. Script player pickup, that's using the last weapon value, and then here we go, we're getting to some of the stuff that we actually need to change. Script check masks does a repeat 26, change that to 27, and you might note it down just so you don't lose I mean, you could always just do another search in scripts, I guess, for 26, and then the ones that don't show up have obviously been changed, but it might be a good idea just to note them down on like a notepad. But yeah, as you can see, I opened up my modding guide for this. Whenever I was adding new masks to the game originally before recording this video, I opened up this line and then I got to doing it and I didn't actually add any notes. So yeah, I'll probably add those after I put this video up though. But anyways. So yeah, we want to change this to 27, and every single time that you add a new mask, so if you were to add a 28th mask, you want to change this to, or not a 28th, the 27th mask in this case, but technically a 28th. You would change this to 28, 29, 30, so on and so forth for every new mask you add. So just remember that. Script check used masks. Again, we want to change this as well to 27. Script load achievements, and okay, this is where this gets really confusing. I don't know who added these comments. I don't know if it was Tony or P1IOH or however you say his name. He's the guy who actually made the this port of the Hotline 1 source code to Studio One. I'm not sure if Jonathan made these I don't think Jonathan made these comments, because as far as I remember, I don't think Jonathan commented any of his code because he was the only developer working on the game. So I'm pretty sure these are made by Tony or PIOH1 or P1IOH. Again, I cannot remember bro's I cannot remember the actual the actual letters and numbers in bro's name for the life of me, but yeah, he's the guy who made this. I'm assuming he did these comments, but anyways, enough of my rambling. These comments are completely wrong. So these comments would have you believe that number 1, so the first repeat is for all guns, then for all melee, then for all masks, then for all ground kills, which is completely wrong. And he didn't even include anything for the throwing kills. But yeah, these comments are completely wrong, so you don't have to change them, but what I would do is I would, just to prevent any confusion. So number 1 is actually all masks. Global.usedMasks is a variable for every mask that has been used. It tracks the achievement, I believe. for all the masks. Global.usedGun is the same for every gun that the player has used, so it tracks all the guns that have been used and then unlocks an achievement. So all guns, and actually we'll just all used masks, all used guns, and then all used melee, and then all used throwing weapons, and then finally we have all used executions. Okay, so yeah, there's a few other places where this, so I'll go ahead and copy this, because there's a few other places where you're going to need to change this comment, because this comment is used in a few other places where all of this stuff is defined. So yeah, you can either update it via just typing it over and over again, but I recommend just copying this and pasting it if you did even care about changing the comment. But yeah, the only thing we want to edit in this script other than the comment, which is optional, the only thing that we definitely do want to edit that isn't optional is this repeat 26, and we want to change it to 27. So yeah, and then we want to do that one more time down here as well. Okay. And then script save achievements, and again, as you can see, there's that comment that is just completely wrong. So go ahead and remove that, throw this in here, and yeah. Script get weapon doesn't have anything to do with masks. This has to do with the weapon index, so we'll skip this. I believe script enemy shoot. Yeah, that's just values for a line of code. Script save unlocked. Change this to 27. Mask menu, dodge roll. Oh yeah. Of course, I should have done this already, but change this to 27, of course. This is in the mask menu. Object weapon. And that might be everything. Let me just make absolutely sure. Yeah, I think that's everything. Just to be sure, let me script draw mask menu. Repeat for the number of masks. Okay, cool. Yeah. And then there's one more place. So if instead of 25 we look for, or 26 we look for 25, of course there's going to be a bunch of different values for 25, but should be somewhere in here. Or actually, it would probably be more efficient to look up like repeat. No, not a resource. I'm an idiot. Repeat 25. And let me just make sure. Is that the repeat form? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. In script load unlocked, and this loads the amount of masks that have been unlocked, because as you know in Hotline 1, when you first load up the game, if you've started a new game, most of the masks are going to be locked, and you're going to have to unlock them over the course of gaining points or through the story or picking them up wherever. And so the reason this is 25 instead of 26 is because the Richard mask is unlocked by default. That's the only mask that you don't have to unlock. So I believe this just repeats for all of the masks that you've unlocked instead of repeating for Richard, because that mask is already unlocked. So this is optional. You don't even have to change this, depending on how you're going to mess around with whether the mask is going to be locked or unlocked. You can leave this blank, or not leave it blank. That'll throw an error, but you can leave this as it is or change it. I guess we'll just update it to 26, but it doesn't really matter unless you actually want to lock your mask and have it be unlocked later on, and then have the mask be saved if the player does unlock it. So yeah, that's up to you whether you want to change that or not. But anyways, now that we've done that, we can launch the game, and our mask should be in the mask menu, but it's going to be locked, and I'll show you how to unlock it in just a second. But for now, we're just going to test to see if the game isn't going to to see if the game throws us any errors. It shouldn't. And then, yeah, just to see if the mask is being drawn correctly and all of that. So I'll see you guys in roughly 5 minutes, or 1 second in your time, actually. Okay, so we are in the game now. If I load up Decadence, we should hopefully not get an error. Yep, perfect. And as you can see, if we scroll down, if we just hit W on Richard, as you can see there's a new mask and it draws it, but it's blacked out and it's unavailable. Of course you can go all the way down here and then hit S and it'll loop back up to the top. So yeah, it's still fully functional, everything works, but we just can't use the mask yet. So we'll go ahead and exit the game. And now that we've exited the game, unlocking it is very simple. Of course, you can unlock it in a few different ways. You can unlock your new mask that you've added in a few different ways, depending on how you want to do it and depending on the context of the mod that you're making. But the easiest way that I like to do it is, as you can see right here, this is repeating 27, and it's saying if global.masks_i, which is the global.masks is basically how many masks there are in the game, so the global variable, and it's setting the it's basically asking if global.masks_i, which is the variable that they're using for the mask number, because there are 27 in total now, or 26 by default. And if it's set to 0, which is set to false, I believe, which is basically the variable for false, or yeah, the value for false, name I for the mask equals unavailable, and then if it's unavailable, then it'll be blacked out, or if this value is set to 0, it'll be blacked out and unavailable. So this is just checking if the mask hasn't been unlocked yet, then set it to unavailable and don't allow the player to select it. So the easiest way to fix that is just adding right after this this block is adding a statement that literally just says if global.masks and then your number of masks that you've added. In our case, it'll be 26, and then if it's another mask, then change it to 27, 28, etc. Or no, sorry, not if global.masks. Global.masks your mask equals 1, and this sets it to true, which means that the mask has been unlocked. So global.masks is again the global variable for all the different masks. 26 refers to the new mask we've added, and 25, 24, etc. refers to all the other masks in the game. And we're setting it to 1, which means that the mask 26, the new mask we've added, is unlocked. Otherwise, if it's 0, it's going to be unavailable. And so it's declaring this after this is played will override the unavailable statement. Will override the logic that makes the mask unavailable, basically. And this is just like a very hard-coded, cookie-cutter way of doing it. It just makes sure that the mask is unlocked by default. Obviously, if you want to have a sequence or some kind of event that the player has to go through to unlock the mask, you're going to want to not have this, and you're going to want to change the mask to get unlocked only whenever the player goes through that certain event. And then the rest of the game code should save the unlocked mask on its own. As long as you change that 25 value earlier to 26, it should save the mask getting unlocked all on its own, I do believe. Just to make sure of that, we can go to, I don't think this had, or no, it shouldn't have anything to do with it, but there's another object in the game that pops up that tells you when you've unlocked a mask, but we won't mess with that in this video. If there's like a request for it, if you guys want me to change it's basically this, hold on, object unlock. No, it's object mask unlock. Yeah, there it is. So this basically pops up and tells you, hey, you've unlocked a mask, and then it shows which mask you've unlocked. So here, if you want to reuse this object, just go ahead and add the name of your mask and set the name, and then yeah, as you can see, there's a bunch of sequence checks here, so that if the sequence, the sequence room is this room, then global.currentMask equals whatever mask that the game wants to have unlocked after that sequence has been played out. So yeah. Then there's an alarm that fades the object out and a bunch of other shit that happens. So yeah. Again, I'm not gonna fuck with this in this video, but it's pretty simple. And if someone makes a request for this, for me to mess with this, then I'll do it. But for the purposes of this video, it's not really necessary. So yeah. Now that we've done that, I'll load the game back up, and then the mask should be unlocked and working as normal. It just won't have any powers, which I will actually, here, before we do that, I will actually prove that you can add powers. So if we go to script player animation end, if I can learn how to type, and script get mask powers, and we just add a new line like anywhere. I guess we'll just add it like right under the 25. If global.maskIndex equals 26. My voice is cracking a lot. That's kind of embarrassing. Sprite underscore index equals SPR P walk sword. We'll give them a sword. Okay. So if the mask index is set to 26, then give the player a sword, which is Corey's mask. So if the player selects Corey, give them a sword, and then you can do whatever you want with this. But this is just to prove that the mask does work, and you can assign it a power if you want to, and then it'll just work as like a cosmetic thing besides that. So Corey, if global.maskIndex equals 26, sprite underscore index equals SPR P walk sword. Oh, and I guess I should, for some reason the ammo is set. I'm not sure if you even have to do that. Probably not, since it's a melee weapon, but I'll do it anyways, just in case it throws an error for whatever reason. Ammo equals 0. Okay, cool. So now I'll run the game, and everything should work as intended. Okay, we're back. We're loading into Decadence as we speak. And if we go down to... Oh, it still shows the name is unavailable, which is kind of funny. Okay, sorry about that. I'm a dumbass. There's like 2 more things that we need to change. First of all, in the create event, you're going to want to set this to 1 before this plays out, because otherwise the name will still you'll be able to use it, but the mask name will be set to unavailable instead of the name. But it'll draw the mask correctly and you'll be able to use it. This will get declared before then, and the mask, if you haven't unlocked it already, the mask will be set to unavailable first, because GameMaker reads code top to bottom, so it'll be set to unavailable first. Then you'll have this line play out, which tells you that the mask is, which tells the game the mask is unlocked, but the name will still be unavailable. It'll still function because all the code will run after that. So the mask will work. It'll just have the name unavailable, which you probably don't want. So we'll just throw this like right here. Yeah. So global.mask26 equals 1. Just make sure you declare it before this repeat block. So yeah. Go ahead and change that, and then one more thing that I completely just neglected because I'm a dumbass. So where is the mask sprite actually set? Okay, sorry about that. There's actually a few places you want to update the mask sprite. It kind of threw me off because in the step event of objMaskMenu, if we go in here, as you can see, there's a bunch of code that sets the mask sprite, but it's commented out, so I'm not really sure why that is, but yeah. There's the Xbox mask menu, which only shows up whenever you have a gamepad or controller plugged in, so you probably don't need to change this, but I would do it anyways, just in case. especially if you want to have the player be able to play your mod with a controller, because that would cause a shit ton of issues, obviously. So yeah, make sure you update this if that's the case. Otherwise, you can probably just leave it blank, but it's just good practice to update it. So as you can see, I've added if select equals 26, which is the mask index of our mask, our new mask that we added. Object player.masksprite equals SPR zebra mask, which masksprite refers to the sprite that we added for put on masks, which is the animation of Jacket bringing out the mask and sliding it onto his head. So yeah. And then, as you can see, here's all the step event code that's commented out. And then there's key press enter for objMaskMenu. This is where this code has been moved for whatever reason, which I guess makes sense because this only plays out whenever you've actually selected a mask. So that the animation of Jacket putting the mask on only plays after you've hit enter. So I suppose it actually does make more sense to declare all of this here rather than in the step event. So yeah, just make sure you add the same exact line that we added to the Xbox menu script. So yeah, if select equals 26, object player.masksprite equals SPR zebra mask. So yeah, and then there's one more optional place to put it. It's in object p vomit. This is whenever Jacket vomits after the metro level when he kills the hobo and he throws up on the ground. This is optional because, of course, if you're making a mod, I assume you're not going to keep that in your mod. But if you're making like a Redux mod or something, you probably will. So, yeah, make sure you add it here as well. Otherwise, it will throw an error whenever that event plays out. Whenever this object gets created, if you have your new mask on, it will throw an error because it'll try to draw a sprite that doesn't exist. So, yeah, not SPRP zebra mask, SPR zebra mask. There we go. So yeah, just make sure you add all of that, and then now I will launch the game, and everything should work as intended. So see you in a second. Okay, we are now back in the game. So if we go all the way back down here to Corey, as you can see, the name shows up, the description shows up, it's not blacked out anymore, and if we select Corey, nope, it's not space, it's enter, or just hit the left mouse button. As you can see, Jacket brings up the mask and puts it on, and we do have a sword, and it does work as intended. So, yeah. The game is running like garbage because I didn't... This is a new... it's edited now, but this was an unedited version of the source code that I put back in after making the reloading video. So, I didn't have the chance to put the GM shed extension in the game, so it's kind of running like garbage, but that's not really a super big deal. But yeah, anyways, that's that. Everything is working, and yeah, adding a new mask to the game is actually a lot simpler than you would probably believe upon first thinking of adding a new mask to the game. I originally thought it was going to be super complicated before I even tried to do it, and then it took all of like 20 minutes and I had it working. So yeah, you can now add new masks to the game, and that's about it. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. This video really shouldn't be any longer than like 20-30 minutes. I know I always say that and it ends up being longer, but this one should hopefully be an exception. So yeah, that's about it. Adding masks to the game is really easy. The videos to follow after this will probably all have to do with the fans, and then I'll move on to some more specific topics. I really want to get into UI design. I do and I don't, because UI design is kind of a mixed basket, and the tutorial on that isn't... It's either going to be like the shortest tutorial ever or the longest, and there's not going to be any in between, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I definitely want to get all the fans' abilities out of the way first, and then, yeah. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I hope it was informative, and I hope it helped you accomplish whatever it is that you were trying to do. That's going to be about it. So yeah, happy modding.